Your self-worth didn't disappear on its own. It was negotiated, conditioned, quietly reduced. Not because you weren't capable, not because you weren't intelligent, not because you didn't have value, but because when you believed in yourself fully, other people lost leverage over you. So piece by piece, you were taught to second guess, to defer, to wait for confirmation. Not loudly, not aggressively, but subtly. Think of it like turning the volume down one notch at a time until you forgot how powerful your voice used to sound. This isn't about confidence. This is about conditioning. And once you see how it happened, you stop asking what's wrong with you and start seeing who benefited. Self-worth doesn't vanish on its own. It erodes in specific environments, places where you had to earn credibility repeatedly, where your instincts were reviewed instead of trusted, where your authority came with conditions. You didn't walk in doubting yourself. You learned to doubt yourself there. Because when power isn't shared, confidence becomes risky, and self-worth turns into something you negotiate instead of assume. Self-worth isn't erased, it's reconditioned. Think of it like this. You weren't told you don't matter. You were taught something more effective. You were rewarded for minimizing, praised for accommodating, accepted when you stayed agreeable. Every time you spoke up, you were dismissed. Every time your certainty was questioned, every time your confidence was treated like arrogance, a message was delivered. Your worth depends on how easy you are to manage. This happened recently. You accomplished something significant, and someone says, "Wow, you're so lucky." Not "you earned that," not "you're talented," but "lucky." And you hear yourself agree, "Yeah, right place, right time. I just got lucky." Honestly, that wasn't humility. That was you deflating your own worth before they could even question it. You learned that owning your value made people uncomfortable. So you started preemptively making yourself smaller. That's not emotional damage. That's leverage training. And training works best when the person being trained thinks it's their fault. Doubt didn't replace your self-worth by accident. It replaced it because doubt is controllable. When you doubt yourself, you pause, you check, you seek approval. That hesitation creates space, and space is where leverage lives. Self-worth is like a solid floor. Doubt turns it into quicksand. You can still stand, but every step feels risky. Every moment requires permission. Every decision feels heavier than it should. And the people around you, they don't have to push you down. They just wait for you to sink yourself. And here's what makes quicksand so effective. The more you struggle to prove yourself, the deeper you sink. You over-explain to show you're capable, and it reads as defensive. You list your credentials to establish authority, and it looks like you're seeking validation. You try to justify your worth, and the justification itself becomes proof that your worth is questionable. That's the trap. Self-worth that requires proof isn't self-worth anymore. It's a performance, and someone else is holding the scorecard. Ask yourself this honestly. Who benefits when you hesitate? Because it's rarely you. It benefits the boss who pays you less because you won't advocate for yourself. The partner who avoids accountability because you'll question whether you're asking for too much. The family member who maintains control because you're still seeking their validation at 35. The friend who takes more than they give because you'll accommodate to keep the peace. Every time you ask, am I overreacting? Am I doing too much? Should I wait? You're checking with people who benefit from your uncertainty. And that's how leverage compounds. Not through one big theft, but through 1,000 small moments where you outsource your worth to people who profited when you stayed unsure. Self-worth doesn't disappear, it gets outsourced. And whoever holds it sets the terms. Systems don't collapse because people wake up. They collapse when participation stops. And self-worth training works because you keep compensating. You explain, you soften, you overfunction. You thought you were being mature. What you were actually doing was keeping the imbalance stable. Here's what most women never realize. You weren't a victim of the system. You were the infrastructure. Your self-doubt was doing labor the system depended on. Your hesitation kept roles stable. Your constant checking kept power unequal. Your need for approval kept leverage external. The moment you stop questioning yourself, the whole dynamic has to reorganize because you were the one holding it in place. And that's why resistance shows up when you begin reclaiming authority. Ask yourself, where in your life did believing in yourself start feeling dangerous? Not uncomfortable, dangerous. That's not insecurity, that's conditioning. Here's what will happen when you stop questioning your worth. And I'm telling you now so you recognize it when it comes later. Someone will call you arrogant. Someone will say you changed. Someone will tell you you're doing too much. Not because you became worse, but because they're naming their discomfort with the loss of access to your doubt. When you stop seeking validation, people who benefited from your uncertainty will try to restore the dynamic. They'll question your judgment. They'll suggest you're overconfident. They'll imply you need to stay humble. That's not feedback. That's leverage maintenance. And recognizing it is how you avoid falling back into the negotiation. Self-worth doesn't return through affirmations. It returns through finality, through decisions that don't ask permission, through boundaries that don't come with explanations, through movement that doesn't wait for validation. Here's what it sounds like in real time. Someone questions your decision. You used to say, I don't know, maybe you're right. Let me think about it more. Try saying it like this now. I've decided, and let that be final. If someone suggests you're being too much, you used to say, you're right, I should probably tone it down. Try it like this instead. I'm not adjusting, and whoever don't like it, oh well. If someone withholds validation, you used to lower your standards until you got their approval. But instead of seeking external validation, just proceed at full value anyway. No more rehearsing, no more double checking, no more external approval. You're already her, and the fastest way to remind everyone is to stop negotiating your worth. Self-worth stabilizes the moment your actions stop seeking permission. Your self-worth was never missing, it was contained. Contained so other people could keep leverage over you. You weren't broken, you were trained. And training can be undone the moment you stop responding to the old rules. You don't rebuild self-worth. You withdraw it from the places that never deserved access to it. And the moment you stop letting others price your worth, your authority returns. Not because you became more valuable, but because you stopped accepting transactions that treated you as less than you are. Now you have a choice. You can keep treating your self-doubt like a personal flaw, or you can recognize it as evidence of a power structure that benefited from your hesitation. One keeps you adjustable. The other restores your authority. This channel isn't about becoming louder. It's about becoming unavailable for systems that require your self-erasure. If you're ready to reclaim your power without asking permission, subscribe. This is where self-worth stops being negotiable.